all of you. I'm Sai Krishna, currently working as a software engineer in one single. Yeah, today's topic, what we are going to discuss is like JSON logger and framework. So, firstly, like what is JSON logger and why it is different from normal logger. So, if you see the normal logger, that normal logger, if you count if you want to print the data in any structured format, and you want to send the structured data to any of the actional systems like Splunk and ELT. So normal logger we can't do in any structure long. You need to do a lot of things too. So JSON logger is a capabilities, and it is like a custom SDK connector provided by MuleSoft. So it is like if you want to print any data in a structured manner, so it's basically the prints the data in the JSON format, and we'll see in the next coming slides what are the capabilities of JSON logger and all. So like first capable see first before that it is not a like pre-uploaded component available in Mule palette. So first thing you need to do is like you need to do a small configuration to add into our Mule palette. So we'll have a Git repository, MuleSoft Git repository. So first thing is like you need to clone the project into your local mission. After that there is a small settings, like second step you need to go is like you'll have a folder. Inside the folder you'll have a template files. In that you open the settings.xml. Under that you'll have a server configuration where you need to replace your any plant username and password. Once do this stuff, next use your organization ID. So once if you use the organization ID and run this command, so once you successfully like your build is success, then you will able to see your JSON logger component in our exchange. Then you can able to do in our palette. You can these are the configuration pre configurations you need to do before using your JSON logger. And one more thing I personally observed is like it is the capabilities with JDK 1.8. That's we'll discuss in the demo part. What are the things which is not like version issues and all. So this is thing about how to import and all. This is typical JSON logger component look like. So if you have see this any before, if you use any JSON logger, so it's like a we'll discuss all the details in what are the field and what is the functionalities and all those things. So next slide is like location info. As we know in our application or any so if you have if you face any issues or any errors, so to troubleshoot that errors, so it is very big headache to track the where is the exact log, and you need to fix the issue and all those things. So by default, JSON logger will give you the location of your where is the log, and where is the root container of the file name, and in detail it will give the where is the exact log that is there in your application. So you can easily track where is the issue, and you can fix it within small duration. So that is how the location info comes into the picture of JSON logger. If you see here in the picture, so line in file is nothing but where is the exact your JSON logger is kept in our code. So it will give the configuration.xml line number, and so if any issues occur, you can directly go into your file line and you can check the where is the log. And component is like by default JSON logger component. File name, it's nothing but our configuration.xml. We have 10 configuration.xml in our API. So where is the exact configuration.xml that logger is kept? So that is the meaning of that one. Root container is nothing but our subflow. Our subflows are flows. So it will print the that log is comes under which flows or which subflows. You will have a clear visibility of where is the exact log that you kept in our API itself. That is the meaning of location info. Next comes disable fields. So what this JSON logger developers have done is like we have a two types of data. One is non-sensitive data, and we have another is sensitive data. So they decouple the component into two parts. That's message and content. Message will print the data of the sensitive, like it will print the non-sensitive functional data, like if you have a data, so if you want to add any transaction ID or something, like you need to have identifier where the request is coming and all. So you can kept that non-sensitive data into the message, and content is nothing but what is the sensitive data, or whether from your application, whether it's payload, attributes, or variables. So all the sensitive data comes into the picture of content, and the non-sensitive data comes into criteria of message. So they decouple into the two components, message and content. So disable fields, if you see this diagram, disable fields, if you want to print only content, you can give the only content, only the sensitive data will be printed. If you want to print only non-sensitive data, you can give it. So it's like user option to enable and disable the things. It's a comma separated. If you don't want to both message and content, message and content. So that is all about the disable fields. You if you have a, if you, let's take example in the production and staging environments, if you want to print the payloads and all those things, you could enable in the property from taking the property file. Lower environments, you don't want to print the data at that time, just keep it the only the message. So that is about the disable fields. And next comes content field data mask, data parsing. So by default, JSON logger, previous versions of what the JSON logger is like, it will print the data in any stringified format, even it's JSON or CSV or XML, whatever the data you give the input of a payload format, then it will print the data in the stringified format. So after in the new release 2.0.0, so the JSON data, like what are the MIME type you are sending JSON, so it will get be parsed. So you'll print the JSON data in a non-string format. You will have a clear JSON format. So that is how these people have bring it in the data parsing. If you don't want even in the JSON also in the non-string in stringified format, you go and disable this thing. By default, it will be true. Parse content field in JSON output. If you disable it false, so even you give JSON, it will be get stringified. By default, JSON is get a non-stringified. So that is the thing they come up in the new release 2.0.0. So that is about the field data parsing. Next comes, they added the data view logger module. If you see this picture, you will see some modules. So there is four things available in the data view logger module. First thing is like a stringify any. So stringify any is like regardless of what are the content type you give, whether it may be JSON, XML, or CSV, it will get by default stringified. It is irrespective of content type. So in this, you need to change it like a stringify. You need to change this value stringify any, stringify non-JSON. So it will keep the apart from the JSON, what are the data you give, it will get stringified. It's like a changing of the MIME types into stringified format. JSON, stringify non-JSON. Only JSON data will get preserved. Other than JSON data, whatever MIME type you give, it will get stringified. That is the meaning of stringify non-JSON data. It's stringify any, all data you will get be stringified. Stringified any with metadata. So any data will get, apart from that, it will print two more tags, that's like content type, content length, and data type. It will print the some metadata of that data type and content. It will print the two more extra fields if you give this data way module, and all the data will get stringified. And here stringify non-JSON, it's same. JSON data will get preserved. Other than JSON, it will get all minors get stringified, and it will print two content length and data type. So thing is like, people may look at is like JSON logger. All the data will need to be sent in the JSON, and people may convert before sending to JSON logger. They will convert the some formats to JSON and they will send it. It's not required by default. JSON output MIME type is application JSON. So whatever the data you send, it will sit into the content field, and output again, it's a MIME type is XML. Sorry, it's a JSON. So you need not convert from before JSON logger to convert your payloads into the JSON format. Whatever MIME type you send it, it by default from output, it will get MIME type. That is one note I can I can stressfully tell to overcome the runtime issues. And next is like external destination. So here comes the JSON logger. Main requirement is like if you want to have a JSON logger data to be sent to across external systems, any visibility of your dashboards or your log fixing issue, whether it may be Splunk, ELK, or anything, ever database or anything. If you, because for the future perspective or ever dashboard perspective and all. So JSON loggers comes up with external 3 JMS queues supported by queues. That's any point MQ, JMS, MQP. So you need to just configure these things to, if you want to send the logs to external destination. And from the queue, you need to consume it and you need to send to the whatever external destination you want to like send the data. That is about the 3 destination, but unfortunately VM is not is given in the external destination queues. So that is about the external destination. I'll show the things in the demo part, all those things. And here in the extra, if you see the in the diagram, this is all about the external destination. Destination here need to configure the your queue configurations, and you need to go with your JMS or AMQ or any point MQ configuration. One thing I can stressfully tell that you will have one field that is called category field. So we'll use this category field in our external destination. So we'll have one advantage of using this category. So what is the exact scenario where we'll category? Let's example, you need to send the logs, only you need to send the particular category set of logs to the external. You don't want to other logs to be sent to the external. You just want to print it. That's it. If you don't want to send that particular logs not to be sent to the external, use this category. In the category, you define the what are the category you want to give. It's, let's take if you are using any point IMQ, just logger.category.amq.external. Give this category string value and define here in the log category. By default it's none. Just click edit inline and give. At the time it will be filtered, only these logs will be sent to the external destination. Apart from this, all other logs will not be gone to the where any point MQ or whatever it may. So it will use as a filter purpose to which type of category logs you need to send to the external destination. And that is all about the category. And it's like combination of category and the destination component. It will be inside of your thing. Destination will be inside of your JSON logger component. Just you need to configure a queue configurations and all. And one other comes with the data masking. JSON logger has a beautiful thing is like many of the customers like require a hide the sensitive data. So when you log the data, you need to hide the some sensitive information. You don't want to, oh, you don't want to print any of the you didn't want to showcase some sensitive data like some account like user information and all. So like previous if you use a normal logger, so like traditional way is like you will encrypt the total payload with some keys and algorithms. And apart from like if you use the normal encryption of total payload, it will be impact our runtime. So rather than just JSON logger, it will hide the what are the fields. You don't need to encrypt the total payload. See, these are the 3 advantages you can use using data masking and JSON logger. It's like one advantage is like because we are not going to encrypt the total payload, just hiding the what are the sensitive fields if you want to hide it. So it will have a not direct determined impact on our runtime performance. That is one thing. And second thing is like it will preserve the original data structure. So what are the data structure you see? It's a readable format. So because you will hide the only the field values, that is what are the structure, it will look like as it is our payload structure. So it is a readable format. It preserves the original data. And and one more thing is like it's a it will be data will be masked only the payload level. It's non-sensitive information and location info, that type of fields we can't do it. Only the advantage is we can only encrypt the data of the sensitive information. That is about the thing. And how to do the masking is like internally it will convert the internally data internally like data masking, like JSON logger component will convert the JSONs into the CSV format. So just we need to give the paths, JSON paths. Let's take example in this addresses. If you want to do the state value to be encrypted, just give $.state .state. It will go and take the tail elements of address component. It will be encrypted. So if you want to give directly that name, just it will internally convert CSV and take the JSON paths. So that is about the internal logic and how they the functionality will go. And logger scope. So this is also one of the, apart from JSON logger, this is the two components available. So logger scope is nothing. If you want to elapsed time between your components or within your application, so use of a logger. So some applications will come like you want to calculate any response timeouts of particular target systems, or if you have a thousands of big line of data line code, you want to take type of it is taken to performance and all. Just use the logger scope, wrap in the component level, and keep what are the components you need to calculate the response time. Use the logger scope. Logger scope will create will give what are the time is what is the payload is entering inside of the, it calculates the time out of the component. It will do the like top to minus and calculation. It will give the response time. You can use the logger scope within these three trace points. So one is data, as we discussed, data transform scope. That is like inside the data view language. If you want to calculate the performance, you go with data view transfer scope. Or outbound request. You have any external system, you need to calculate how much is taken to take the response, to get the response from the system. Just use outbound request scope. Flow scope. If you want to have a requirement to entire flow level, you want to subflow level, you time out, then use the flow logger scope and keep entire flow is a logger scope. So it will get calculated of the elapsed time. So this is all about the loggers, JSON logger functionalities and capabilities and all those things. So next comes like, what is like custom logging and why, how to use this JSON logging framework. So why we use like custom logging and all those things. First thing is like three things you need to consider if you want to implement the custom logging with using JSON logger. So first thing is recording, formatting. What are the data is entering into that JSON logger, you need to record it. You need to do proper formatting, so that by default JSON logger will do format in the JSON structure. Appending is nothing but you need to have some identifier to, because sometimes JSON logger, all the logs you send to the some Splunk and external system instance. So you need a appending should be there. Happens. You need to trace that log. So you need to do proper you need to ensure before custom and JSON logger like recording the data and so custom logging and custom logging. So what are the custom logging things you need to construct before implementing any custom logging? So it should not be what if you have a big number of logs it is printing. So make ensure your application runtime, you should not, so using this logging framework or in our JSON logger, it should not be impact our runtime. So it should be as smooth as it using your framework and loggings and all. So you should have proper to ensure. So that is about fasting and how robust your logging framework. So it's like easy and it should be easy. So it should be easy and easily understandable, and you need to use any of the features that is there. Security perspective, as we discussed, data masking is already there in the JSON logger. So if you it will give the customer information, sensitive information that will be hide of the using security perspective. And future scope of logs, because any logs you save and you should be used as a business level to create any dashboards and all those things. So you need to have a clear visibility of how it is like business is happening every month to month and all those. that is about the future scope of logs. You need to ensure when you are building any custom logging. So components to implement custom logging framework is like JSON logger. In the JSON logger, we'll use it component level. These are the components. I will show it. ActiveMQ queue. ActiveMQ. I use it as a JMS queue here to show you how the data logs will be sent from JSON logger any point. Sorry, JMS queue. So that I VM, because VM we have a some limitations of using VM inside of the JSON logger. I'll discuss what about the VM configurations and all. Snowflake. Snowflake, I use it. I send the logs to the Snowflake database, a cloud database. So what are the data? I use the external system as a Snowflake. From JSON logger, I configured it using queue and all those things. I'll show in the demo part. SDK custom connector. I'll what are the limitation of JSON logger? At that time, I'll discuss about the last XML SDK custom connector, how to do, what is the use and all. So this is pretty forward straight way, adding the dependency of Snowflake and use your host name of Snowflake, username, password. This is straightforward way. And building a common project. When you are implementing any log, any custom logging and all those things. So make use of a resume. So if you have a same logging should be used across multiple APIs. Like rewriting again and again, make that particular application as a and make it as a two ways. One way is like directly push that jar in as a connector level and export to Exchange, and from there you can take. Second way is like push that common project as a Maven repo and add that your dependencies in a pom.xml, and you can use that like that common framework across multiple APIs. That's about the thing. This is how typical log like using JSON logger and all those things. First, this is about the sending the logs from your application to the JM from your JSON logger. From inside JSON logger, it will send to queue. And from second thing is like you need to subscribe that message from the ActiveMQ queue, and you need to send to that. That's how the architecture. I'll show in the demo part using Snowflake and ActiveMQ JSON logger and all those things. And async scope, here comes the picture of async scope. So when you are sending any logs from your API to system, so it should be asynchronous because the application logs that will be sent to your API to your external destination in between JSON logger, it should be asynchronous call. Because if you give again a synchronous, so you will get the next payload from the thread is like a queue output. So it should not be there. Just logging as a asynchronous, equip it as a asynchronous scope when you are sending the logs to the asynchronous scope inside your flow level. That's about the asynchronous scope. PubSub mechanism. Yeah, in this diagram there is two threads will like parallel. One thread is like send the logs from your application to your common log, where is JSON logger is there. Inside JSON logger, and it logs to the queue. The thread will break. Second thread parallel will run, consume the logs from your ActiveMQ queue, and send that data to the external system, whatever external system it may be. So it's a PubSub mechanism, sending the logs to the queue and consuming the logs and take to the external destination. So maybe a Snowflake or any ELK systems, or it maybe. So VM configuration, as we discussed, there is only 3 supported configurations available. So that is all about JMS configuration. And one more thing is like when you are sending the data to external system, there is one component available, that's max batch size. So by default, it's a max batch size is 25. So what is the meaning of your batch size? So if you want to send any set of data, because logs will be run very fast, so you need to send the data to the queue. So yeah, like backend, it will be sent as a batches level. If you give the value go, so if you give that 25 logs will be allocated in the one array and will be pushed to the ActiveMQ queue. Sure the performance, because injected into the JMS queue. Remaining logs that is there push printing, so that will be there in the buffer event. So make sure of your because buffer event it will consume your JVM memory. So make sure of should not be impact your runtime to keeping your value of max batches, because backend it will be in the buffer event. So that is one note I can the keeping the max flies. So that is about the thing VM configuration. Yeah, Manju. Okay.
Yes, I.
Yeah, shall we go demo or any questions? In
Uh,
last, or shall I go with?
I don't see any questions, so yeah, we should be good to proceed with the demo.
Yeah, sure. So this is how there is two things available when you are sending the logs to your Splunk or your external systems. So Splunk again, when you are if you want to send your logs from your application to Splunk, so if you are using on-premises environment, go use of your forwarders. So in the forwarders, use your server configurations. It's a one-time configuration. If you are using your cloud up environments, then make use by default is like it's like uh, custom appender will be disabled. You need to raise a ticket to your MuleSoft forum and MuleSoft support team, and you need to enable. Once you enable it, then our custom uh, Splunk appender you need to configure in our log4j configuration. So at that time you can push your logs from your application, because cloud up by default it will be replace your log4j framework, your cloud up one log4j framework. So you can't send your logs to your JSON logs or water logs you can to send to Splunk. So by for that reason you need to do make use of your log4j configuration. I'll show in the last how to make it like log4j configuration to be sent to the Splunk. So this is normal. What is the second thing is like this right away forwarding logs to Splunk instance. This is intermediate queue from queue to take it, and you can use your own HTTP request call, and you can be configured to your. This is second way. So I'll show the second way, or you can go directly with the first way. So first way is nothing but you don't need any intermediate queues or and directly push to Splunk instance. So lead architecture logging. So typically experience process and system IP led architecture. So make sure when you logging anything across your applications, so make sure of proper logging, because if you have a more logs in our it will be impact in our direct runtime engine. So when you are using any logs and all those things, make sure should be proper less number of logs. So that is all about the you logging framework across your lead architecture. So yeah, I'll go with showcase of the demo part. So first thing is like I'll run this. What are the things we discussed? So first thing I'll show it how to like push your uh, things to. First thing is how to export your JSON logger to the palette. By default, if you see here, you won't able to see your JSON here. So for that, what you need to do is like uh, this is MuleSoft provided JSON logger. I think it's public. So just clone that project into the local machine. So just I will log into the, but I will show the how to do it configurations and all. See, this is the JSON logger. I just clone the project. So first thing is like go under the template files, go settings.xml. Under the settings.xml, you need to do slides. Replace your initials like so change this value. And one more thing is like same values change in the set our .m2 repository settings.xml. Edit your same under the exchange too. These are the two things before exporting to their anypoint exchange. These are two things before do you with your any point credentials. Second thing is like you need to do with exporting. So use this command exchange.sh, and this is your organization ID. You start you can directly find in our organization ID in exchange. So that is one thing. So just I'll run the command and I'll show it. So just use that is the two things. After you made it, just run this command and build it. So this is my exchange. So previously it's so this is my exchange. There is no JSON component before when I pushing. So once you when you are successfully build this success, and it will be directly exported you to the anypoint exchange. So let's see what will happen now. As I discussed, like JDK 1.8 is supported. JDK higher versions is not supporting with some. It is getting some JAXB binding exception. So if you face same issues, just deprecated your JDK versions and try it. So that is how. So once build is success, and you will able to see in the or any point exchange. So I'll show it. So once you just build this, able to do it to the exchange. So just JSON logger info, and after that you can directly search into the exchange and add it. This is straightforward, or you can directly add your pom.xml. So you can add into the dependency level. So directly add this dependency into the product where you want to do it. So that is pretty straightforward way before using the JSON logger. So once you add the JSON logger, so just I'll run this thing. So what are the capabilities that we discuss in the slides? So we'll have in detail things. So what is there and all those things. First thing, as we discuss, I will go with what is stringify any and all those things. So I'll show one by one. So how the data is printing and all. So after that, we'll see. I will show in the Snowflake configurations and all. So once the so I will show the location info and how the structure, how the data is printing and all those things. So I will show it thing. So it's first thing I'll go with stringified any. So just I'll go one by one. So just run it. So see stringified any. What are the mind type you default it will get stringified. So even you give XML or JSON, whatever it may be, it will get by default it will get stringified. So that is the meaning of stringified any. Just observe the logs that I am showing in the console. See, XML is also get stringified. So second thing is like stringify non-JSON. Here, first thing is like I'll show with the XML. So just run it, clear the logs. So just I'll run it. So see, XML is again stringified. If you again send the JSON, it will not. It will JSON data will get preserved. So that is about the non-stringified non-JSON. Just send it. See, JSON will get be preserved, and other than JSON, it will be stringified. That is about the stringified non-JSON. And one more thing, I showed it like location info. So it will give where is the exact log. See 30 line number 31. It is there, and component it is where is the just by default JSON or component. File name is nothing but see I have for configuration.xml. So it is giving the where is the exact file name that log is printing. So root content is about the my file folder name, that is about the thing. And I'll show one more thing, stringified non-JSON metadata. So what is the yeah, I already shown. See what is the stringified non-JSON metadata. So 1 minute, I'll just hit it. So it will give the data. 1 minute, something. It will print the data, some mine type and all those things. So it is not parsing issues. See log for details. So you will get the stingify to end document as no root. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, sorry, it's XML, right? This is JSON. So sorry. Just send that. So see, singify non-JSON. As I told in the slides, content length, it is a metadata. So data type. These are the two extra fields that will be printed if you use the singified metadata. If you use this thing, you will get the content length and metadata. That is all about the data view modules and all. One more thing is like pretty print. So what is the meaning of pretty print? So if you see open your JSON logger, so there is a one component of pretty print. By default, it's a true. In for your showcase, I kept it false. If you keep the pretty print false, so it won't get the data in the pretty format of your JSON log. So just use this pretty print. So just run it. See, the data will not get be printed in the pretty format. It in the one-line format. So that is about the pretty print. So disabled fields I was already discussed. Disabled fields. If I use the disabled fields, I kept as a logger message and content field. So if in it, uh, it's a string JSON logger. It's a disable fields. Here one more thing is like, yeah, if you keep your disable fields as a message and content, something like message and content. In the log, you will not able to see the only the content field, only message field. So if you have a requirement like that, just use the disable fields. And one more thing, as we discussed, so this is masking. So what is the masking? So here in this payload, I want to do the masking of these particular fields. Uh, in this masking, I want to use the particular fields. So this, so masking. So here I want to showcase the thing of how to do the masking and all. So just use this masking. Just I kept it value. So I kept here payload dot dot address and dot dot state. Just use this one how to showcase and all. See, use this payload. Use this payload. So what are the things I done is like the street value under the child value of address one. Just so you see the JSON logger. See all the state values under the this thing it will be masked. That is about the thing. And external, I'll show the external category and all. I configured the external with MQQ. So see, this is active. My local active MQ is running, and I will see the queue. So this is queues, external queue. So this is external queue. I configured it. So how to do the configuration of your queue? So first thing is like you need to separately configure your JMS configuration of your queue with using your JMS username and password. I as of now I done with my local username and password, and after that use your global configuration like config name JMS config inside JSON logger. If you open your JSON logger, so there will be a tab called destination. In the destination, give your what are the destination JMS MQ. As of now, I use JMS, and use your config name, your anypoint MQ or whatever queue it may be. Just use your queue name. That's it. Max batch size. I told you if you want to print what are the data you want to do, just mask the data. Give the max batch. Just I will show it, and I'll show the first thing is like as I told category field. So by default to send only this category of logs to the external system. I don't want to send the other logs. So how to do it? So I define this category logger dot category dot jms dot external. Configure this category of logs to the I'm a logger category edit clean line. Just give the value. Filter other logs will not be sent to the JMS. I'll show you. So first thing is like logs I didn't define JMS queue. But I'll run the what are the category that is defined. Only these logs will be sent. Just run it and show. So here use it. Just run it. So these logs will be sent to the external queue. Just see it. So one log. So only these logs will be gone into their JMS queue. So just run it one more hit. Only that categories of logs will be sent to the queue. So if you send this category logs will not be sent to the queue. So because I defined here category as this one, and this category of logs I didn't define in our JMS configurations. That's about the using of our configurations of category combined with your anypoint and any queues. So just run it now and see. So these logs will not be sent to the queue. See two. Only these logs will be sent to the queue. So that is about the using of queues. These logs will be sent. So that's all about the usage of category combination of your gem queue mechanism. Finally, we have a logger scope. I discussed about the logger scope. See, this is about the logger scope. So I want to calculate the how much time it is taken particular logger scope. Just use it. So just run it. So see. So it will calculate the. I'll clear the console and hit one more time. So you'll have two prints. So data logger scope info and before and after. So this is before and this is after, and it will calculating the time. See, you'll have a elapsed scope elapsed. It's like milliseconds. So it is about the printing of your time. Previously, it's a zero. Before it is entering zero, it will calculate the end time and it will do the subtraction and will give the what is the response time or that is pending. That's about the if you want to use the calculate of it. Here I use the transformer. If you want to any target system, so you can use your logger scope. That is about the logger scope. Mm. Manju is fine, right? Till now, uh, I need to answer any questions. Uh,
Yeah, there is one question. So if you want to take it now, I can read the question for you. Yeah,
is it this one?
yeah.
Which is taking more memory, logger scope or start and logs?
I think there is
So
one.
memory is like yeah.
There is one above, like from Ashutosh. Yeah, I think yeah. You scrolled up.
How
How
do we
to
add
add?
external fields in the JSON logger and component and user which we don't want to the in the connector? Yeah. So just make use of in the add external. Make use of your JSON logger customization. So you need to use your JSON logger. You go and open your resource module schema and make uses of your this thing. If you want to disable or if you want to do mandatories and all, make uses of this thing. So go and instead of their JSON logger, you can make your own customized way of it is not a blueprint. You can make it customized of making it. If
Uh,
you take this
Sai,
example, sorry.
I think yeah. What he's asking is like how to add extra fields. So if you go to your code, I think you created some extra components, right? You can go. Can you go to your code?
Here, here,
Yeah, go
yeah,
to the
this
logger.
one.
So here
Yeah.
in the content section, if you can show here, yeah, here I think he's asking how to add extra fields. Like if you want to add additional.
Uh, no, actually, I was asking. Suppose you have added content over there and message over there, right? So just like that, if we want to add some extra fields over here, so how
Yeah,
can
yeah,
we add
that's
that?
what you need to uses of your customization of your JSON logger here, using some Java classes and all. So you need to make uses of your customization of here from the JSON. One thing like here, you can use it from here. Schema like you can add it from here processor.json. I didn't much go through the adding of fields, so if you want to make it some disabled or enabled, you straightly do it from here. See, if take like category some required row, so you can make it here. But adding, I didn't do much about adding and all. So I think
So
you need to go.
if we want to remove some field, we can just simply remove it from the
Yeah,
schema.
yeah, we can remove the schema. Adding, I think we need to make it some Java classes, and from there, I think it will come. So that is how the process. You can make your own customization.
Because I remember we have option to add the or expose the flow name, but I don't think Mule allows us to expose the subflow name.
Yeah.
So
Can, can you repeat it once?
yeah, so we can use flow dot name to actually say which flow has got the error.
Yeah.
So but we cannot actually say which subflow has failed. So in that case, is there anything that we can do to get the
I
name
think
of the subflow?
no. I think as per official documentation, it's not provided anything to get that thing. I gone through all the documentation. Uh, and I don't think so. And uh, which is taking more memory. Logger scope are start and logs. So a better use of start and logs, because logger scope is nothing but it is only taking to where you want to calculate the response timeouts, and you can without using logger scope calculate the response timeout. With only thing is like I'll show in the thing, like if you want to use only the response timeout, use like this. So just use this thing as a customizer thing. So
Hello, Dev here.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm saying, suppose I'm calling any system layer from experience layer. So in the through HTTP requester, so I put
Oh,
requester in inside the log scope, logger
yeah,
scope.
yeah.
So should we go with this one, or should I include start and log after request and before request, that thing?
No, no, no. Just wrap it with HTTP requester with your logger scope. By default, it will calculate end and out. In the end out, it will give the response time. You don't want to put two logs.
Okay. Okay. Memory wise is start and end log is not more efficient, right?
Yes, yes. Logger scope, because you can wrap it with logger scope, so it automatically will take it.
Okay. Thank.
Okay. Shall I go, Anuj, Manju, with the next slides?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So showing? Uh, are you done with the demo, or you're
Yeah.
showing the VM
No, no,
as
no.
well?
I show the common thing, common framework, and
Yeah, yeah,
so
sure.
see, this is
That's it.
how the
Sai, I think you're in mute, Sai. We are not able to hear you.
yeah. Sorry. Am
Mm,
I audible, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
you can. You're
So
audible.
this is the common framework you need to use of JSON logger. Make keep of two flows, and use your async scope, because this is a common project calling across all APIs. So make use of your async scope. Here in the JSON logger, as we discuss all those things we define, and configure our JMS configuration inside of our configurations of our active MQQ. So that is straight away all we discussed. So and you make use of your toggle endpoint, so you'll get a requirement that I don't want to log the start flow and end flow. Just make use of your from the property level. That's why I kept here. And from here, make how to use this common project across all APIs. First thing, make this project and build it. So go it to your properties and run the project. So make it run. You can do it as a connector level using distribution management and export exchange. But as of now, I'm running to the Maven, and from where the Maven I'm taking. So first thing, pretty forward way, clean. Once you build the project, So once you build the project, so the jar is builded. So second step is like you if you use this because I need to use this project across this API. So if you add this group ID, artifact ID, and version ID, you won't get it. So one thing you need to do is like here I added my that project I called across this API because to log the data. So for this you need to do is like one more step you need to do it. So because you need to do the packaging the jar into the compress the jar into the packaging jar. So for that you need to run one more command. So just I'll put in the chart after this thing. So here eh, make the run this command. So maven maven install hyphen install hyphen file. D file your jar name. What are the jar name that you are using? So that is about your jar name. And one more thing, your artifact group, your group ID that you will find your pom.xml artifact ID version and use that hyphen D packaging and jar. So once you build this jar, so now it is ready to use across all APIs. So now what I've done is like this is my API. Just I want to log the data. So what I need to do, go to the pom.xml and add this dependency. Once you add this dependency, this particular project will be coming to this project.library. So you can make use of this one. So once this jar is ready, one more thing you need to do is like use global elements, import the what are the file name that you using configuration.xml or whatever may be, and that is one thing you need to do. Once the configuration.xml same file name you need to use it. So your same file name configuration connectivity.xml, just import this. Once this is ready, then you can use this of so I want to call the start flow. So it is straight away go and take this start flow, and here use the flow exit log. So don't make it like logging across all, make it as a common jar and use across all APIs. So here I use again the snowflake connectivity. Here first thing I'll push these logs from and to the common jar, and from there it is async scope, and from it is going to a messaging queue to the external destination. And second thread from there it will break it. Second thread I'll run here to call this snow. It will connect to your any point JMS queue, and it will consume the thing, and from there it will publish to the your snowflake. That is how the things will go. So just I'll run this project. So just I'll run this project, and this is my snowflake account. This is my snowflake account. So I'll open snowflake account and I'll show it. And this is how my snowflake. It. Let me open and so how's it? So meanwhile, I'll show the Splunk configuration. So if you want to use directly use your Splunk configuration, just to go with your Splunk configuration on mate. Here use the Splunk and use your log4j. So it will use your log. You need to use your Splunk server environment variable and your Splunk token. You need to use it, and you can parallelly run your logs to your cloud hub also. So this is a backup thing, and the Splunk is your actual instance to send the logs. Make use of your log, but other environmentals log4 is not supported. You need to go with the traditional REST API. So just make use of sending the logs to the queue. From there, take it and send to the ELKs or as a REST API perspective. So that is one thing. So here, so this is my, I'm adding the message value here and the header level. So this is transaction, this is the transaction ID. So that I already included in my JSON logger. Inside the JSON logger, you see message fast transaction ID that I captured here in the flow. And from here, it is taking the transaction ID and it will go and take it. Just I will run this flow. This small API, I'm just touching to their actional API, some test API, and just running this thing. Now see the logs. So you will see the console start log and end log. It is going to start log. So meter, this is transaction ID. That is I'm taking it from the header level. Meter 123. And this is trace point. Trace point is nothing but if in the JSON logger, where is the log that is you kept it trace start, because to identify you can make use of your JSON logger trace point start and before after request and all those things. That is about that. And the location info already discussed. Timestamp, it will print the timestamp by default from the thing. Correlation ID it will print the by default correlation ID. If you see advanced, this is JSON logger correlation ID, and this is our payload, and this is our flow name I've added in the variable level. Just go and check the snowflake. See. So you are just taking this logs into the snowflake, and you can, this is the end log, that is the data is coming, and this is the start log. So this is our application name and all. You can take it from application name from the app dot name. So just open your JSON logger, make your usage of your thing in the application, and just go make uses of your you can take it from property level, because making uses of this project across space, you need to dynamically take it. So that is why taking the things from the property file. So see, this is how the things. So application dot name version and our Mule environment. So say what are the environment. So you can take it from $app.net. So yeah, that's all about from my side.